In this episode of Our Retro Home, we are pulling apart our old 1980s bathroom and taking it further back in time to the 1940s with some elbow grease, a lick of paint, wallpaper, and lots of dedication. This is the bathroom here that we're going to be renovating. There are quite a few things that don't work, which we are going to be improving. I believe the bathroom was last renovated in the 1980s, so it definitely needs a makeover. The sink has been done with MDF board, which just does not work in a bathroom. The water has actually seeped down the back of the sink and it's just all absorbed into that MDF board and it's swollen up, it's moldy, it has to go. We're going to be clearing out some space. There's a little step here as you come down into the second part of the bathroom, which is actually the extension on the back of the house. Because there is not a lot of space here on the floor, we might be removing this towel rack just to free up a bit of room and then put the towels onto the walls on little hooks. We're going to be replacing that awful sink like I mentioned. We're going to be then putting a cabinet onto the wall. We just need to improve a lot of the features in this bathroom that are not functional. And another little thing that is a pet peeve, we don't actually have a little hand towel here. So every time you wash your hands, you then have to come over to the other towel rack, which is fine, but it's just like I'm creating functionality in this space rather than just little inconveniences that we just live with because that's how it is. We also need to put in a basket in here so that we can put all of our dirty towels in, because at the moment we just dump them into the bath, which is not the prettiest look, and it just kind of makes the bathroom always look untidy. We are probably going to be removing the toilet and putting in a new one. The toilet is lopsided, it needs to be fixed. We need a nice new one. So we'll see how I go and whether I can find a nice toilet to replace it with. And they are the built-in features that we're going to be changing. And then for the walls and for the main color change and improvement for the bathroom, we are going to be putting up a beautiful Laura Ashley wallpaper, which I shared with you all over on Instagram. Thank you all so much for voting for the final wallpaper. I'm so happy with the one that I chose. It's going to be gorgeous in here. And instead of wallpapering the bathroom from top to bottom, which is a lot of money when you use wallpaper, it just gets expensive so quickly. What we're going to be doing with the wallpaper is putting that on the top half of the wall and then putting a trim along the middle and then having just this wooden paneling on the bottom half, and we're going to be painting that. So it's durable because it's a bathroom. If we splash water on it, we can just wipe it over. Although, because there is wallpaper in here, we are going to be putting a special decorator's varnish so that it's water resistant and steam resistant because it's a bathroom and it gets really steamy. We do have great ventilation, so our windows will help with that. Our wallpaper will not be destroyed, hopefully. I've seen a couple of decorators and interior design people have used wallpaper and put a special varnish over the top and it's worked great. So hopefully we'll be able to do that as well and it will all work out. So that's it. Yeah, this is the bathroom, our 1980s bathroom into a very lovely 1940s, 1950s style bathroom. So what we're going to be doing today is removing this awful, disintegrating, moldy, wet sink. Hopefully not breaking the tiles around it because I want to keep all of that intact. We definitely won't be putting in the new sink today because we're going to have to do all of the painting before we then fix the new pedestal sink in. The middle shelf here we actually changed out somewhat recently, as the old MDF shelf was completely ruined from water and was actually sagging and bits of the shelf were falling away. After turning off the water, we were able to disconnect the old sink and remove it.
It's going to be nice and grotty.
Oh gosh, oh no, in the video that I saw of this guy doing it, there was so much black gunk came out, but gosh, this is gonna be awful. Oh! Ah! Oh, that's disgusting. Oh.
Oh!
Ah! Oh gosh, it's gonna make me gag.
Oh,
Oh, yuck! Oh! It dropped right out.
how much to drink some?
Yuck! Oh, get that thing away! That's disgusting, dude.
Oh, it stinks.
Oh, does it? Oh, does it? Does it stink? I do feel a little bit ill.
Oh, shush.
I do. The MDF bench around the sink was so badly water damaged, it was just disintegrating into powder when we cut into it. Oh, it's so rotted away. That's awful. That is really bad. Oh my gosh. Oh. Oh gosh, this is gonna be so messy. We're gonna have a big clean up in here. Put that there.
Oh, look at the paint job.
After we cut through the silicone around the edges, the sink literally just lifted out. Oh my gosh. James, the sink is off! Oh, yuck. Oh my gosh. Wow.
You got it?
Yep. Wow.
Okay.
As we were trying to remove the supporting beam for the sink at the back, the whole wall started to move. And that was when we started to question whether there was actually a wall behind the rotten paneling. Yeah, nothing, the tile stopped. That's
yeah,
right.
that was the wall. The tile stopped, but I think it might only be a wall.
No, it's the beams. It's the beams in the house.
It's the outside of the house.
Yeah. Then we started to remove the left side of the cabinet, only to find that that too didn't have a wall behind it. Instead of freaking out, we continued to pull apart the rest of the cabinet that we knew wouldn't expose the inside of the house. After realizing how dodgy this reno was done, I started to get nervous that there might not be any tiling under the cabinet, which we really needed because we were going to have a pedestal sink. It's tiles underneath! Oh, that's fantastic. Oh my gosh. The next day we got straight into sorting out the fact that there was a bare wall behind the rotten cabinet. My original plan for the bathroom was to paint the paneling around and below the existing splashback, but now with the new problem of having absolutely no walls behind, we had to come up with a new plan. We couldn't just simply remove the bottom shelf and pull it up over the pipes because there was a mysterious plastic tube that went into the wall, which meant we had to break away the cabinet into smaller parts to get around that tube. We eventually figured out where the cord went, going into the wall and up to the heater. So that was definitely an important cable that we had to make sure to keep intact. After removing the sidewall, we discovered that the person who last renovated the bathroom in the 80s drew out the bathroom design on the side of the cabinet, which was just the loveliest thing to find a piece of the house's history. We started to remove the back paneling to literally find the outside wall of the house, which there was also a material that looked suspiciously like asbestos sheeting. It was at this point that we freaked out and were thinking, what in the world have we done? We were starting to regret pulling out the old cabinet and were instead left with a giant hole in the bathroom, wind blowing in from outside, filthy cobwebs, and the possibility of asbestos in the walls. After a short break, figuring out how we were going to proceed with this, we came back in to remove the mirror. Considering if it was asbestos in the wall, we hadn't touched it in the process of removing the sink, so it was undisturbed, and just to be sure, we sprayed it with water to prevent any loose particles moving off into the air. The mirror was so glued to the wall that it broke in the process of removing it, so unfortunately we couldn't use it again. I was so glad that there was a decent wall behind the mirror that we could use for wallpaper and a mirrored cabinet later. So because my original plan wasn't going to work anymore, keeping the tiles and painting the paneling, without walls to paint below it, we decided we would remove the tiles and create new paneling that was flush with the wall. After attempting to remove the tiles that seemed very stuck to the wall, and also realizing that the tiles could be attached to asbestos cement sheeting, as tiles cannot be installed straight onto wood, we decided to stop and work over the tiles instead of removing them. We caulked the gap and moved on to planning out a new wall for the corner, right around to the side of the shower, with a decorative data rail on top. We went and bought our supplies and got stuck straight into building our new wall. We turned the power off to be safe and got to work building the wall. We added supporting beams for the top and bottom that we would later attach our new paneling to. The next morning, I did a bit of research into what sort of cabinet to put above the sink. It is day 3 for renovating the bathroom and we still have a hole in the wall. We're hoping today we can put the paneling up and cover that hole in the wall because it is actually freezing at the moment and that cold air is just coming straight through the outside of the house, through the tube and coming straight into the bathroom. It feels like we haven't progressed a lot because it's day 3 and everything's still like a demolition site. So we're gonna put it all back together today. We are going to be creating a new wall because when we removed that cabinet, there was no wall behind it. The cabinet was the wall, which was just ridiculous, and it just shows how much of a botched job the bathroom renovation was in the 80s. I found a gorgeous sink on Facebook Marketplace a few months ago, and so that's just been sitting in the garage. It's a beautiful cream with a gold tap. Let's get into it. We started to piece together the new wood paneling and made sure to cut a neat hole for the drain pipe. I also had a look through my paint swatches. I tried to match the green in the wallpaper and find the closest colour. It was a tough decision, either going for a cooler toned or warmer green. But before going out and buying paint, we had to finish the wall with trim. We made the mistake of putting the nail into the detailed groove instead of the wider part above, which meant the nail wasn't going to be flush.
That's enough. You'll putty over it, doesn't matter.
I can't putty over a nail!
Stop!
I'm stressing, James! That cannot be puttied over!
Stop!
We have to beat it in, James! I'm sweating.
That's enough.
Stop. Did you turn that back on?
Yeah.
No, you didn't. It's not on.
Shush.
Oh!
Stop. Stop, look what you've done.
What
honestly.
have I done?
Look what you've done.
After finishing the dado rail, we cut the skirting board and nailed it in. I caulked the gaps to give it a professional finish and filled in any uneven parts on top of the ledge. We primed the walls of the corner that night, ready to be painted a lovely green the next morning. James got up early the next morning to start painting. I had a bit of a later start because I like to have a cup of tea and some brekkie before I start painting. Oh, it looks great. It looks so good. Do you like the green, James? Mm-hmm. Do you approve?
Looks great.
I'm very happy with the colour.
Me too. I think it looks good.
I think it's so soft and warm. No, it's perfect. Well, the guy at the paint shop was like, that's a really, really nice colour. He said that he liked the name. He's like, Little Seedling's such a cute name. Yeah. We were actually on a bit of a deadline. In a couple of days, James was going over to see his friend in New Zealand, and the week after that, I started nursing placement. So really, I needed to have a functioning sink while James was away for a couple of weeks. I couldn't get over how gorgeous the sink was once it was installed and how perfectly it fit in the little corner of our bathroom.
2, 1, set it! You!
I went to the vintage markets that weekend and found the sweetest little medicine first aid cabinet. It most definitely could have been a medicine cabinet over the years, and then it's just been sanded back. I feel like I will leave it timber because it's probably an antique and I don't want to destroy that. I don't want to destroy its charm. It's the perfect size to put in our first aid stuff. I can put, you know, Dettol and Band-Aids, and yeah, it's perfect. It's Monday and I really need to start doing some sanding and painting because I haven't touched the bathroom all weekend since James left to New Zealand. So I've just been a bit overwhelmed by everything that I have to do. I've got nursing placement in a week, and then this week I've got to try and get through as much of the bathroom as I can. I have a video that's partly edited that should have been up on the weekend, but I was just too exhausted to keep editing it. And pretty much this morning I've just been a couch potato and just had a cup of tea and had my breakfast, and it's now 11 AM and I've really got to get into it. I'm trying not to let everything overwhelm me because there is a lot that I need to do. I think if I just get into it, I'm going to feel a lot better and feel like I'm tackling stuff. I'm not priming the walls here because it's already a cream base. I just had to prime over there because that was the raw pine. We had a dilemma as to whether to change the height of the wall coming in here. We've put masking tape and we were contemplating whether we should just have it angled down, because we've got a little step here as you come down, and just to angle down, or to then drop down for the trim. With the help of James's mum, she suggested that we just keep it in line with the trim on this side, which means it'll come lower up on that wall. But I think that should be okay. I'll just masking tape and see how it looks. It's so frustrating about doing any sort of parallel lines or just anything in this bathroom is it's completely wonky. Like, it was such a bad job. Like, the house must be on some sort of lean in the bathroom, so just all of the angles are incorrect. If I put my level here, it will say it's equal, like in the room, but it's not. When you step back and look at it, it's so wonky, and it's because the floor must be sloping down or sloping up. I'm not quite sure, but pretty much I'm gonna have to play this all by eye and not measurements. So I'll get my rough measurements, but then I'm just gonna have to make it up, because I can't paint that all green because it's wonky. I've got to fix it. There was a lot of back and forth, hopping in and out of the bathtub, trying to get the best perspective on creating an even line. And I finally did it. Time to get sanding. I've sanded the wall, I've wiped it down, and I've dried it after I wiped it with a wet cloth. So now it is ready to be painted, which is very exciting. But before I do that, I'm gonna make myself a cup of tea and then we'll get into it. I decided to use a paintbrush because I wanted the paneling to look silky smooth, and I found that rollers can give the wall a kind of texture that is obvious to see it's been done with a roller. And of course, I always give myself the most time-consuming option. The next day, I had a little look on Facebook Marketplace for a laundry basket for the bathroom. I found a few that I liked, but I held off from buying because I knew I still had a lot more painting to get through before I could start decorating. The week before I started nursing placement literally became a painting week. I did nothing else but paint multiple coats on the walls, paint the door trims, data rails, and skirting boards. Alright, so I've been doing a little bit of research this morning. I've been having trouble trying to find the right cabinet to fit above our pedestal sink. It would obviously be really nice to have a gorgeous mirror above the sink, but because we are lacking all of that storage now with this new sink, we need to put our stuff somewhere. So we've got to have a cupboard and a mirror in one. I've been looking at Facebook Marketplace and I haven't really had any luck. There have been some things, but you know, they're not right or they're not the right size. Overall, there's just not a lot available, so I decided to have a look on IKEA and see what they might have. I was a little bit conflicted about what they had available, but I found this mirror and I was unsure at first, like maybe it looks a little bit too modern, but I have been looking on my Pinterest page and a lot of the older styles in bathrooms did just have a single plain mirror. So I think it will be okay choosing this cabinet with just the mirror at the front. There's like no fancy stuff to it. It's very, very simple. And I think it will work. I just need to check the measurements in the bathroom. I've got my measurements here. So fingers crossed it will fit in that little space. Oh no! Oh no! Oh no! It's 75 centimeters tall. And that's too tall. You're kidding. It's like right on, like it wouldn't fit in there. You're kidding. I really thought that this was going to be the perfect mirror. It was going to solve all of my problems, and now I'm royally screwed. What do I do? I'm just going to have to keep looking on Facebook Marketplace and there's nothing available. I'm just going to leave that for the moment and I'm going to sort the mirror problem out later. I still have a lot of trim to get through. I have to paint the doors and then like the door frame and then do a third coat above the bathtub. I'm probably not going to be putting up the wallpaper until James gets back because we don't have the decorator's varnish and that's not going to arrive until December. So I can't go putting up the wallpaper without protecting it. I don't want it to get moldy or anything. It's kind of on hold. We're in limbo at the moment once I finish painting. Painting and preparing walls is definitely too boring to show too much of, so I'll speed it all up. After going away to see family over Christmas for a month, we were finally back and ready to finish off the bathroom. Before I could wallpaper, I wanted to prepare the walls by cleaning and priming. But I also wanted to fill in all the grooves in the paneling, because the last thing I wanted was for the wallpaper to be accidentally pierced because there was a groove underneath. There was also some weird gaps near the ceiling trim, so I definitely wanted to seal that all up with caulk. I started out with the caulking gun and soon found that it didn't go very far, and it was kind of a painstakingly slow process. So I decided to switch over to putty, and that seemed to work a lot better. I want to finish the painting, fill in these gaps in the walls. I want to get the wallpaper up. I just can't wait any longer. I'm sick of looking at a half-finished bathroom. We're going to get through this. Hopefully I'm going to get it done in the next week and a half so that I can be done with this project because I'm so excited to see the final result. There were some parts over the bathtub that I couldn't reach, so I was very grateful to have James there to help me out. Today is the day we're gonna finally put the wallpaper up. We've spent so much time prepping the walls in here that we can finally do it. We can put the wallpaper up. I've got 3 rolls of paper here, hoping it will be enough. It was kind of expensive, but it's the prettiest wallpaper and I think it's going to be really perfect in here, especially with the green. Like, it pairs so well. So I've only wallpapered once before, which was in the kitchen, and that was so difficult. We were using like 70-year-old wallpaper and it was at the point of disintegration, so it was so difficult putting it up onto the wall. So I'm hoping this new wallpaper is going to be a lot easier and it's not going to fall apart as I'm putting it up on the wall. I'm so nervous. I'm so nervous. I'm sweating. It's so hot in here. I can do it. I'm sweating. I ripped it, you stupid idiot. Oh. This is not a straight edge. This is so stressful. This is so stressful. I don't like this at all. That is one janky cutting job. Oh my gosh. I tore it here. The glue's not sticking it on properly there. I cut too soon up there. I'm just gonna take my time. I'm just gonna go back and smooth it all and not freak out. I'm gonna make it look alright. I just dropped my phone in the wallpaper glue and I was freaking out and I ran into the kitchen and James and I cleaned it up. I mean, my phone's so old it doesn't even matter anyway, but that was really stressful. I'm so jittery. I'm gonna hang up the second roll of wallpaper and have lunch because I need sustenance. I need to eat something because I'm just all over the place. I'm dropping things. I'm like cutting wallpaper, ripping it. Ah! It is literally impossible to do this. After struggling to get the wallpaper around the beam, James came to give me a hand and we ended up successfully piecing the paper around the beam. By the second day of wallpapering, I started to get the hang of it and actually had a lot more fun wallpapering around the little alcove because I got to use all the scrap pieces that I was saving that weren't big enough for an entire wall. So it became like a little decorative decoupage matching up the pattern. I was also using my little handy dandy tool belt, which I usually use in the garden, but it worked perfectly for all my wallpaper tools. The task for today is lacquering the wallpaper that I've done so far in the bathroom so I can then sand a little spot where the mirror is going that I forgot to do. So I want all the wallpaper to be protected. I don't want like sawdust and debris flying onto all of my hard work. So I'm going to lacquer that so it's fully sealed and we don't have to worry about it anymore. I have a varnish here that's especially for wallpaper and it says that it's a dead flat varnish, so it shouldn't show up that it's shiny on the wallpaper. So I've got a little swatch here that I'm just gonna paint and see whether that's okay before I then put it over all of the wallpaper in the bathroom. I wouldn't want to start putting it all on and then realize that I've made a mistake and it's not the right varnish. Hello Maud, what you doing? Have you come to say hello? Bye bye. Bye Maud. Alright, it's dried. It's only been about 5 or 10 minutes and it appears that it doesn't have any sheen whatsoever, which is perfect, and I can go ahead and put that on the wallpaper now. That's just a bit of glue. I've just started to do one section here and I'm kind of a little bit worried because it's lifting up the wallpaper so it looks like it's, you know, like getting bubbles underneath, like a big long bubble. And I don't know whether that's just gonna lift everything up and then it's not gonna like stick back down. Just do this one panel and see how I go. I just did the second panel with the varnish and nothing is picking up. So it must have just been that first panel that it's bubbled underneath. Maybe I didn't use enough glue when I was laying it, or I used too much varnish on top and it's brought the wallpaper off the wall because it was just too wet. So I'm gonna try and be very sparing and just do a really thin coat and just really spread it out and make sure that nothing's getting too saturated, that the wallpaper is coming off the wall. So I'm just gonna keep going and hopefully it will all go to plan. After priming above the sink, I was able to continue with the wallpaper and keep matching that around the room. On Valentine's Day, we had an IKEA trip. We walked around the maze that I love so much and had their vegetarian meatballs. So remember that mirror that I said was too big to fit in the space? Well, we bought it. We ended up deciding that we could attach it to the bottom of the window frame, so it didn't matter that it was slightly too tall for the space. There actually wasn't a stud behind the paneling, which meant it couldn't have been attached to the wall after all. The window frame provided the perfect solid timber to attach the heavy cabinet to, and to make it extra secure, we attached brackets onto the bottom of the mirror that I could later cover up with wallpaper. Once the mirror was officially up, I started to feel unsure about how it looked. I'm not sure how I feel about the matte grey here, so I'm thinking maybe creating some sort of frame for it to kind of pull it into the wall a little bit, because at the moment it just kind of looks funny. Like it's jutting out obviously a lot, but I think maybe if I put a frame around it, it might make it look a little bit more like it's meant to be. I didn't count the days, but I probably spent a week wallpapering this bathroom. We were having some of the hottest weather in Melbourne this summer. While I was up a ladder with all the hot air, sweating like a pig, even the chickens stayed under the trees to get out of the extreme heat. This is my absolutely dodgy setup. I've got the ladder into the bath with the stool there for me to get up high enough to be able to wallpaper at the very top there. There's no way I can wallpaper over the shower it's just, I can't physically get there. So James will have to do all of that. And I'm just going to do this little bit around the corner that I can reach. I'm officially done all of the wallpapering that I can reach. Now the rest is up to James. What an accomplishment. All that was left now was painting the dado rail and towel hooks and adding them to the finished bathroom. I also made a little frame for the mirror to match the porcelain sink. I'm in my pajamas and I'm ready for bed, but I'm going to put up the frame onto here and clamp it overnight so that it can set, and by morning it will all be finished. The bathroom is going to be done and I can film the final reveal. And now for the finishing touches, and finally our gorgeous vintage inspired bathroom is complete. I couldn't be more happy about how the bathroom looks. I have been dreaming about doing over this bathroom for over 6 months, since the middle of last year, and it's finally come to fruition. After 2 to 3 months of doing the bathroom on and off, it's finally done, and every time I walk into the bathroom, I just feel so lucky. There were a couple of things in the bathroom that I didn't get around to doing. You might have noticed that medicine first aid cabinet I got. I didn't end up putting it on the wall because I didn't really know where it worked well. I feel like probably over near the towels. I just didn't want it to take away from the view of the little alcove bit here. So I'm still not set on where I'm going to put that. Another spot of the bathroom that I neglected was this bottom part of the alcove here. My plan was to get some sort of basket that perfectly fit in here that we can pull out and store stuff in, because you need somewhere to put toilet paper and your hairdryer. So I didn't end up finding the right basket for that. Still on the hunt, and that will be an extra spot for storage. We didn't end up getting our little towel hanger so that we can hang our hand towel, but that's okay. I'll keep searching for one and we can have that there. 2 big changes that didn't happen in this room was we didn't end up getting a new toilet. I couldn't find one that I liked, so it's yet to be changed over. And we ran out of wallpaper. I used all 3 rolls and I wasn't about to buy an extra roll because they're so expensive to just wallpaper in here. I need all of your opinions what to do with this room. Do we do the dado rail like I've done with the rest of the bathroom? Or do I just paint it all green so it's moody in there and it's like a cozy little space? I'm really not sure what to do in the toilet. I would love your help. Please let me know what you think I should do in here. Thank you so much for watching this bathroom makeover. I had so much fun, times of stress, but a lot of fun. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next week. Bye! Yeah.
Oh, it's okay. This doesn't need to be stressed, baby.
I'm not stressed. That is disgusting. Oh, it's so crispy. Oh.
Stop it.
I'm gonna be sick.
Oh, it's...
That, oh! Ew, it's all over the carpet. James, stop. Let me.
It's in.
No, it's not! You cannot putty over that.
You can't.
Stop!
You're flattening it. Go straight in.
No! Can we use like the nail? Can we use
No!
I'm gonna get through this like today. Actually, no, I'm not gonna get through this today. What am I talking about? Oh!
2003 unbearable. Did you see the photos? No, I didn't.
James, this is your cloth that you'll be using.
It looks great.
No, it doesn't! Oh, that's really concerning that that just flexes in the wall. That's not even stable.
It's a good fit. It's almost like it's been mass produced.
It's up. We can